So I first learned about human design in 2021, and I spent about a year like absolutely obsessed with it. And I'm a 1-3 splenic projector, and if there's anything you know about projectors is that typically when they get their hands on human design, they kind of go through that process is they just can't stop researching it. They become completely obsessed about it, and they just like spend all their time learning about it. And that is definitely something that I did. And if you happen to be a 1-3 profile, then you might resonate with this type of theme of like becoming completely immersed in something and like not being able to think about anything else and then completely disengaging with it. And that's because there's this like, I think it's part of the 3 line where it's this theme of like bonds made and broken. And that's kind of like this like experience of you are connected with something, you're bonded to something, and then something has to happen in order for you to gain clarity. And so what happens is you disengage from it. You break the bond with whatever that is. It can be a person, it can be an experience, it can be a subject like human design. It could really be anything in life, a hobby, whatever. And the process of breaking that bond is for clarity, like I said, because what happens when you're like so immersed in something, like the 1 line is like this like obsessive researcher, right? Like not with everything, but with certain things. And when you have that certain thing that you're just like researching and learning about and just like consuming, which is what I did with human design, it kind of puts like you in a box, right? It puts your mind in this like specific area that you are just, because you're exposed to the information or exposed to the, scenario or to the person, you're not actually able to see it from like an objective point of view, right? Like your clarity is clouded, right? Because you're so immersed in the content. And so then by taking a step away from it, by like breaking the bond and taking a step back, it actually gives you like this opportunity to regenerate it from like a fresh perspective, right? And so now you're actually able to like come back and look at it, and you have like all of this wisdom and clarity, and you're like, wow, like there was like so much emotion perhaps that was connected to that scenario. And because I'm now not emotionally connected to it in the same way that I was, I'm now able to see things like that, didn't work, or that like I needed to change, or that like really were completely out of alignment. I'm just saying like examples for things like, let's say it's a person or whatever that is just like totally out of alignment, that like compatibility wise never would have worked. But you didn't see that at the beginning because you had this certain perspective of it, because you were immersed in like the learning of it, like the experiencing of it. And then now you are like, wow, I can't even believe that I like saw it from that perspective, because now I have all of this clarity, right? Okay, the reason why I'm saying this is that's what I did with human design. I like obsessively learned about it for about a year, watched practically every single YouTube video, read articles, did research, like looked at all people's charts in my life, like did genetic matrix, like I like went into the depths of the ocean, looked at every single element that I could possibly get my hands on. And like I didn't spend any money either to do it. I just however I could research it, whatever little thing led me to the next thing is what I did, right? And then I discovered that I kind of was treating it in a way that was not serving me, because I was just so enthralled by the system itself. I was like, this is fucking incredible. And I was like, I need to like treat it like the Bible, which like, it's not the Bible. And like even the Bible has flaws, I'm just going to say. But yeah, so it's like I was treating it in a sort of unhealthy way, right? And it wasn't serving me to do it like that. It didn't make sense, actually. But I did need to do that to see how it didn't make sense. This is like the 1-3 profile in action. Because that had me like, and I've said this in other videos, like it had me like fall out of love with human design. Like I just like, I loved it. I deeply, deeply loved it. And that's like the emotion piece that I'm, attaching to it. That's like clouding my vision, like clouding my perspective. And then because I found so many things that like contradicted it, where I went like, how am I able to be productive if I have an open, undefined will center? Like those two things contradict. But then I go, oh, how am I supposed to wait for the invitation as a projector? But I'm a Cancer sun, which is a cardinal sign, which is like based in initiation and like leadership, right? And then I'm like, also like, I have desire motivation. And so that's very much like I am going to the beat of my own drum. I have a purpose for everything. I want to see the end goal when I'm starting it. Like I want to see the linear step situation so that I know that this is like of value, that it's going to be worth my energy, But then I'm a quad right, which is like, let's go with the flow forever, like no structure, chill vibes, like everything that's very like abstract, right? So like I was having an issue to say the least, and it really, like I said, it did not serve me at all. And I had to completely disengage with it for a long time. We're now 2026, okay? So it was a long while, and I had little moments where I like dipped my toe back into it, but especially for like the first period of time, like half of 2022, I think is kind of when it started, where I started to like take a step back from it. And like there were a lot of reasons why I was like feeling like resistance from people in my life that were kind of like, whoa, like you're taking this a bit too seriously, like this is kind of like cult vibes. And I was like, no, like this is great, this is incredible. And then like I was like, oh, I was kind of treating it like that actually, which I didn't see in the moment, And there have been like different comments that I have seen about that a little bit, and so I'm cautious, 100% cautious of that. And I also, because I took that step back, have the clarity and like the ability to be like, yeah, that was a bit weird, that was a bit like kind of like what happened to me a little, like I took it very seriously, which, side point, I have Saturn in my first house, which I started learning about astrology. And people who have Saturn in their first house tend to be very serious people. And that is me. I've been a very serious person like my whole life. And I always thought that was a detriment. I never really saw it as like the powerful characteristic that it is and that it can be when it's respected. And so that's another interesting point, that like because I took such a dramatic step back, something froze for a second, but because I took such a dramatic step back from human design entirely, like I stopped like thinking about it, I stopped researching about it, I stopped talking about it, like I stopped everything, right? And I actually find it so funny that like some people have commented on some videos on my channel about like how very projector of you, like, starting these videos and then like not posting for a couple years, right? Which I have had a chuckle about. And I have read all of the comments as well, because I am feeling like this really strong desire to get back into human design with wisdom, with like, just being cautious, like I said, but also approaching it differently than I did, right? Like I'm not going to go in the way that I did before. I'm not going to go in as hard as I did previously. I am going to remember the wisdom that I collected by going like, just because it feels great doesn't mean it's perfect, right? And also doesn't mean I need to follow it like as a law. You know, I can just like take what works, leave what doesn't, right? That's the motto. That's the approach that we're taking. And so then the whole thing about like taking that huge break, I, you know, after a period of time, decided to start looking into astrology. And I had never really researched it before. I just kind of knew the basic stuff. And I like bought a book and I like started doing research. And then I did like super hard to astrology like I did with human design, and watched all of the YouTube videos and like articles and like whatever I could get my hands on, right? Which was great. And I got like to the end of my chart of like what I could do myself without having like a reading done. Because again, like I don't believe that you should have to spend money to learn about these things. There's like so much information online that's just free and it's just available. Like if you don't have money and like you want to like evolve as a person and like get to know yourself better, like that was like the number one thing. Like my chart is all about getting to know myself, like how I work, what I like, what my preferences are. Like that is my like life like goal. That is what I came here to do. And so if you feel that same way in your life, that human design and astrology, such great systems to work with. I'm trying to pause. And so now the reason why I am making this video right now, and it's 2026, February 2026, okay? I have been channeling information, okay? I think that's also why I took a break from human design, because I needed to like clear the channel, right? And I've done that, and I'm like continuing to protect that, you know? And what I have received from that is just about like so much to go into, okay? I'm not even going to touch on it completely right now because it's a little bit like half-baked. It's a little bit underdeveloped still. So I don't want to like present it without it being the right time, the right place, the right like scenario. Because I also have the 2343 channel, which is like that genius freak scenario. And so if you introduce information like too soon to the collective, it gets like repelled from them, and then it like bounces back on you, and then you feel like icky about yourself because you're like, why doesn't anybody understand me? And that's why, okay? It's because you're sharing things too early. It's not the right time, not the right place, not the right person, right? Keep that in mind. So what I do want to say though is that, you know, the concept of new earth, okay? If you are on this same timeline as me, the same trajectory as I am, with this whole concept of new earth, right? Again, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but what I do know is that it's not a location, okay? I guess want to start with that, where it's not like we're like creating a new planet, okay? If you're new to the concept of new earth, I just want to like preface that we're not going anywhere, okay? Nobody's leaving Earth. Nobody's going to another planet. Nothing like that is happening. And if, you know, that narrative of going to another planet, it's kind of weird. I just want to say that. Just want to put that out there. We're all staying here, okay? All of the people who are like here with this purpose of new Earth, we're all creating it here, okay? New Earth is happening on Earth. And so the difference is that it is a society, right? It's like, and I've had this like information, it's like the New Earth Society, right? It's a way of living. That's what it is. It's not a place, it's a vibe. It's an intention. It's an essence. You know? That's what New Earth is, right? So that's like the premise, right? But then in addition to that, you know, New Earth needs things, right? Like we need things while we're here right now. Everything that makes our life function, right? Where we get our food, the money system, how we interact with everyone, transportation, sewage, healthcare, like all of that, right? That, like, those are just like a few basic things that are just like coming to me from the top of my head. And like, I don't know. I don't want to share too much too early, okay? But the point is that I am feeling called, deeply, deeply, deeply called to New Earth and to the beautiful creation of New Earth, right? And I'm kind of treating it in a way like it's like fun. It's a game, you know? It's like, you know, I don't know if everybody did this or if this was just like something that started happening at a certain time, but like I live in Canada, okay? I don't know where everyone's watching this video, but I live in Canada. And in elementary school, I remember doing like, you know, different like creative writing assignments, right? Like creative writing activities. And like one of the things was like, you know, describe your utopian society, right? Like, did everybody do that? Or was that like something that happened in Canada and like only at a certain age because they're like certain like time frame? Because I remember talking to my mom about it and she was like, no, I never did that. So, and like she grew up in Canada too. So I don't know. But anyways, the point is that I want this, what I'm feeling called to do, okay, is I'm feeling called to bring projectors together. I feel like there is something very special that we're here to do. And I feel like one of the main reasons why this whole like narrative of like the world was not built for projectors and like we behave differently. Our energy system is like not the way that any other energy system operates. Like even manifestors, right? Because they're in essence similar to us, right? We both don't have our sacral center defined. But the difference is in the way that our auras operate, right? Manifestors have a repelling, maybe some other word too, repelling aura. We'll just stay there. And projectors have an absorbing aura. We take things in, right? So projectors push things away, or no, sorry, manifestors push things away and projectors take things in, right? Yeah. And so that I think is a very different aspect, characteristic to have. And I think that's also why the whole sensitivity aspect is that we feel things more deeply than other people. We sense things more deeply than other people. Typically, you know, empaths are kind of like a wild card because like you can be, my mom's a manifesting generator and she's an empath and she's very sensitive. And she also has a projector aspect on one of her views on genetic matrix. But, you know, very, very sensitive, very intuitive, very empathetic. And so I'm not saying that this is like a, you know, you have to be a projector to have those things. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there is some other like piece, you know, little ingredient that just makes things like different for us, you know? And I don't think that anybody quite understands it like another projector does, right? And that is something that I have just really craved in my life, you know? Like I feel like I give a certain je ne sais quoi to my exchanges with other people, and I don't always feel that that's reciprocated. And, you know, part of it is like, okay, maybe I have a certain preference of like how I want to interact with someone, right? But I feel like it's also that I just, you know, I just want to like, I feel like projectors just understand each other in a way that other people just don't. And I think that what we gotta do as projectors is come together. And so that's why I have created the Projector Collective. And so my vision for this is actually just pretty chill, actually. It's pretty simple, it's pretty chill, it's pretty straightforward. desire, motivation. Okay, straightforward, just give it to me straight. I'm also super direct. That's like something that I've recognized with myself in these past few years of like really getting to know myself, that I've found in my chart. And then now also that I'm like receiving feedback from other people, which I just think is so funny. Because I think that, it's not a typical thing in society to be direct. And I'm not rude. Like, I'm not like being disrespectful at all. I'm just very clear in the way that I communicate and also in what I share with people. Like, I just like have such a clear way of thinking and a clear way of communicating and articulating that I'm like, I just don't want there to be any ambiguity. Like, ambiguity to me is like, I can't. I do not work well with ambiguity. Okay. But the point is that going back to the Projector Collective, I have a vision for me to collect, and I find it so funny too that it's like a collective, but I'm also out here collecting. Okay, I am out here collecting projectors. That is my goal. And because we all have something to offer, and we all have something like so deeply unique and important to bring to the world, and like keeping in mind that whole new earth society aspect, I just want to like help cultivate the gifts of projectors. And like, I just like, some people come here and they get into human design and they just love it, and they just start reading for people, and they start like looking at everyone's chart and yada yada yada. And I'm like, that's so great for them. Like, I love learning from people who are doing that, because I wouldn't know as much as I know if there weren't people doing that, right? So I'm so grateful for them. And at the same time, I know that that's not what I'm meant to do. Like, I know that I am meant to speak to projectors, like almost exclusively. I like, sure, I'll interact with the other energy types as well, but like, I just know so deeply that I am here to bring projectors together. That's what I'm here to do, right? And it's also like a little bit self-serving in a way. Like, I'm not going to be here being like, this is, I'm doing this for you and I'm doing this for like New Earth. Like, I am, but I'm also doing it for me. Okay. Which is very 1-3 mentality, right? And there's actually a lot of 1-3s. So if you are a 1-3, I'm sure you're going to resonate with all the things that I've been explaining. But, it's kind of like that, like, personal view. Like, that's why whenever I've made YouTube videos, I'm like, I always speak from my own perspective. Like, I don't necessarily want to come on here and like read someone's chart that has different elements than what's in my chart. I kind of want to like learn about my chart, share about my chart, and then have other people comment, like, share about their experience with that same element, because it's always slightly different. It's always just like tweaked a little bit. And then also this whole, like, I want to bring projectors together. I want us to have like Zoom calls, like little like powwow sessions where we're just like kicking it. We're like hanging out and we're just like chatting about human design and chatting about New Earth and like building this like dream utopia scenario of like, what would your dream Earth look like? Like, what would it be? What would the elements be? How would it feel? Like, what would your, like, and like in my mind, like something that popped in, I was like, what if like the love languages are currency? Like, what if you were like rocking up, like you want to like buy like some, whatever, like you want to buy some food, some like grass-fed beef or something, and you like rock up to the stand wherever, and they like say like on their stand, they go like, we accept words of affirmation and acts of service as our currency. And then you go and you're like, oh, okay, so here I have to give them a compliment and I have to do something like generous for them that helps them in their store, right? That I've just like noticed, right? And so you like rock up to the stand and you're like, you're so beautiful. I want to tell you that like you have such a great smile and you have such great energy And I love your store. It's so cute. It's so like the vibe of it is incredible. And I really appreciate what you're doing here as well. I appreciate that you are taking care of these cattle in a humane and sustainable way. And I appreciate that you are feeding them a complete 100% grass-fed diet. I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate that you are doing that. And I want to thank you for doing that. And also, can I help you with anything? Can I maybe like organize these things over here? Or can I like bring whatever? I'm like not able to come up with an example. Something like that, like you notice something that like needs tidying, like, can I sweep your floor for you? I don't know. Maybe the person like really doesn't like sweeping. I don't know. And then you go and there's like a broom there and you offer, can I sweep your floor for you? And then that person, because they just like received their currency, like they're like incredible, like they feel like they are so fulfilled, like they have just been like poured into in the way that they love being poured into, and the exchange for that is grass-fed beef, like that would be fucking cool. Like, and like it doesn't have to make sense too, like that is the other thing, like this is just for play, right? And so it's just about like using our imagination, and it's just about like cultivating that, like, what would it look like? What could it be? And really that's all creation is. That is all creation is. Manifesting, bringing things into the world, creating something new. All it is focused attention, imagination, and emotion. Because that made me really happy, right? That made me really fucking happy to have that experience. And like the more you focus on something, the more real it becomes, right? And like I said, we don't have to get bogged down in the details. Like that is not what we're here to do, okay? We are here to cultivate our imagination, and we are here to visualize how things could be different. That's it. Really, that's all we're here to do. And we're here to have some fun. Okay, we're here to have some fun along the way as well. And we're here to connect, and we're here to like, because like that's the other thing, right? That whole like recognition aspect, like I am craving that in my life. Like and I want to preface that by saying that it's really important to give yourself recognition, okay? Because anytime you go and you give your power away to any external circumstance or person or scenario, then you immediately become weaker, right? Immediately you weaken your system. So I'm not saying it in the sense that I'm like, oh, I'm feeling like so like what's the word? Like I'm just like missing something. I'm not missing something per se. I just have a knowing that the thing that I am looking for, which is the reciprocal recognition aspect in my life, I just know I'm going to find it with projectors. That's what I know, okay? And I know also that I give it to myself. Like that's really important. That's step one. Like don't rely on someone else for recognition. Start by recognizing yourself. Self-recognition is step one. But at the same time, I have certain things in my life that I want to do, like certain ideas that I've had for a very, very, very long time. This is one of them. And I keep kind of bouncing away around to like the different ideas, and like all of them are businesses essentially. And I'll like do a little bit of work, and then I'll get like met with resistance, and then I'll kind of be like, okay, it's not flowing here anymore. And then I'll go to a different one of my ideas and I'll make some progress. And then again, the same situation. And that is also somewhere in my design. I don't know exactly where I'll find it, but it's about kind of like having variety in your life, especially with career and like what you do for a living, that like I'm meant to, I think it might actually also be in my astrology. Maybe that's where it's coming from. Yeah, because I think I have Sagittarius in my 10th house. I think it's been a while since I've thought about astrology, but I'm pretty sure. You know, that the quad right is able to just like retrieve information, and it's pretty cool. But the point is that having Sagittarius in your 10th house has like, you go like, I need to travel for work. I need to be in like different places with different people doing a different job, from like different contracts throughout the year, like, you know, different like time periods of work, doing different jobs. You know, like that is really like a healthy way of Sagittarius in the 10th house to operate, which is why I have basically like these three ideas, like these three businesses, four actually. But yeah. And so, and that's why I'm just kind of like bouncing around to them. And I feel like really devoting my time to this idea. Like, this is not so much a business per se, because I'm not like I said, I've said in my other videos, like, I'm not here to do readings. I'm not here to like charge anybody for this. Like, I just want to create like a completely free community. And the goal, like I said, bringing projectors together, recognizing each of our gifts, like our really unique, important, purposeful gifts that are special to us. Like, I feel like that's one of my gifts, is recognizing other people's gifts, you know? And before, I kind of had this like almost self-deprecating narrative around it, that I was like, oh, like nobody like recognizes me in like the same way that I recognize them, and like I'm always like giving more to people than I'm receiving, is kind of how I felt. But now that I'm having this realization, and like I can't even actually source this anywhere, like in my human design or in my astrology. It's just something that I've like intuitively kind of discovered, you know? And then I've leaned into it. I've been leaning into it recently. And I'm like, wow, this is a superpower. Like, this is a straight up superpower, that I can see somebody, and just through their vibe, through the way that they carry themselves, through certain information that they tell me, like details about their life, and just basically by like observing them, like having like a conversation with them. And then, you know, of course, like looking at their human design, looking at their like astrology, whatever I can just kind of like pluck out of, because like that's why I don't want to do readings, because like I feel like it would be exhausting to have to explain every little piece of someone's chart. And then I also feel like it would be really boring to like every time have to be like, okay, here's your profile, here's your energy type, you know, da 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 da. Because it's like you either have to do the whole chart, right, and charge more for it, or you have to do like kind of a basic intro reading, which, you know, is an approach. You got to choose one, right, or do both. And you have to follow like a system, right? Like you have to have a template that you follow. And I just quite honestly am like, I don't feel a desire to do either of those things. And what I have done though in the past, like when I, you know, tell somebody about human design, and someone in my life or like a family member or whatever, and I feel like a little bit of interest, like I feel like I've like piqued their interest a little bit. Because like, you know, that's a little bit of the invitation, right? It's a little bit of dipping your toe in the water, seeing how they respond, how much are they like leaning forward to hear what you have to say, right? That's kind of my cue that I go by. And the longer they lean forward, like the more I share, right? But then the second that I feel that they've like taken a step back, and they've like leaned back and a little bit disengaged their energy, then I know it's time to stop. And I don't even like push further than that. I just like evacuate. I just go like, and I just wrap it up, you know, because you don't want to overstay the experience. You're just going to like annoy people, right? And then it's going to rebound back on you, and you're going to feel underappreciated, and, you know, the traditional projector experience, right? Or the previous projector experience, because we're not doing that anymore, right? But yeah, and so it's like what I do in those moments is I just like pluck out the thing that calls to me. I go like, what is the thing that, based on it, it also helps to like know the person, right? So like based on past conversations that I've had with them, I will pull out the element that directly speaks to whatever I know about them already. And I have found that to be really beneficial because it's something that I know that they already know about themselves, right? Like that there's some awareness around already. And then by me just like sharing whatever information, like just off the top of my head from like that obsessive year that I had with human design back in like 2021 and like half of 2022. I guess it was like half of each. So it was kind of like a year, but it was like half 2021, half 2022, something like that. And I just like pluck out whatever I feel like saying, you know? And for me, that feels like really like juicy. Like that feels like really like special and unique. And it's like I'm only talking about the things that I like know that they would be interested in, I guess, first. And then B, that like I think are cool because something might just be like really unique in their chart. And I decide to talk about it, you know? And that's kind of the only way that I want to interact with readings. And I also don't want to charge for that because I don't want to be like responsible for, really, quite honestly, I don't want to be responsible for delivering a certain experience. You know, like I have paid for a reading like online before. It was like a tarot astrology mix reading, and it was like pretty expensive if I'm going to say it, but it was a birthday gift to me, so I justified it. I justified it. um and there was definitely value in it. Like I don't want to discount it at all because I felt called to have the reading. I felt called to like yeah, I'm really happy that I did do the reading because I think I'm going to look back on it a little bit down the line and I'm going to be like I'm gonna hear different things than I heard before. And so and I think there was a really important message for me in that reading, but if I'm being quite honest, it was not what I expected. And that's kind of also why I've just really been hesitant towards getting readings like at all. And I'm not saying like, I'm sure there's people who do really great readings. I really am sure that that's a thing, but you just never really know, you know? And also I think that you get a different experience. Like sometimes people are like channeling like through tarot, right? Like they're channeling different messages. And so there's just a part of me that also I to kind of go against this whole like cult scenario, like I kind of want to make a point of like not spending money on this. And that's kind of what I've done the whole time. So those are the reasons for me why I haven't gotten readings myself, but also why I don't have a desire to do readings and to charge for them, you know? And I also just feel that there's like I just kind of want to let everything flow naturally, right? Quad right. And I also have I think it's the right angle cross of service. Pretty sure. I haven't looked at that in a long time. But I know it's a cross of service, right? Left or right, can't remember. But I feel like this is just something that I like came here to do and that I want to do, and that is just like purely service. Like this is, and it's like service to society is kind of like the hallmark theme of the right angle cross of service. I don't know. So yeah, and I also, like I said, I want to let this flow. Like I want to have it be, if I have to take a step back from it, then I will. And I don't want to feel the pressure of like, oh, like there's people relying on me, or like I have to like charge for whatever. Like, you know, people do, I don't know, like membership stuff, and they do like Zoom calls and things through that, which like is great for them. I love that for them. I really do. And like I said, the other ideas that I have, I am going to charge for. And like it may or may not be the same target audience as like the projectors, but that's not my intention. Like actually my truest intention is it being a little bit of like an entrepreneurship, business strategy community, you know, because I took entrepreneurship in university, marketing as well. And I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to be in business and to have my and to be an owner and to have my own business. And I've just really held myself back a lot. And it's just, I think it's maybe just part of my journey, I suppose, because I think a lot of people experience this. I think it's kind of like hard and scary to be an entrepreneur and to like start something. And like, maybe it's easier for other people, or maybe whatever. Maybe I'm just here to create this. And that's why I'm struggling with it. Like that, I do believe that like the things that are the hardest for us, or like have been the most difficult experiences in our lives, I really genuinely believe that that is a like blueprint for what you are here to do and who you are here to reach. Like I genuinely believe that. So maybe this is all for that reason, And what I see is all of us coming together as projectors, having like Zoom meetings, or like whatever new thing that we decide to use instead of that. But like we'll start with Zoom, right? Because like it's here, right? But like eventually probably somewhere else, right? And we just like get on a call and we just like talk about human design, and we get to know one another and we support one another. And like, if you specifically about like career, like that's another aspect that I'm really, really, really like called to and like passionate about, because I feel that the way that we make money in the world is so important. And I feel that like I've never had a job that I don't enjoy, because I quite literally wouldn't be able to do it. And I know that that's like somewhere in my human design, I think, but that's just like the straight facts. Like and there are so many people who are doing jobs that they hate, and I want to change that. Like I want to have some liaison, some ability to take and help people who are currently doing jobs that they don't enjoy, and to bridge the gap gently, not drastically. Like nobody quit your job, don't do anything, hastily, just gently moving to a new place, a new career, and a new job, a new way of making money that you fucking love. Like that's all I want to do in the world, really. And that's what I want for myself as well. Like I want to like I said, I've always enjoyed my jobs, but they've been jobs, right? I want a career. Like I want a career that I fucking love, that just like fills my soul so completely and makes me a ton of money. It exists. It is true, and it's possible. So that's another aspect that I want out of this. And I feel like we can all support each other. Like sometimes you just can't see things clearly, or sometimes you just need to like talk to someone about it. Like that's the other aspect, like each person's authority. If you don't know about genetic matrix, I can make another video on this and just kind of explaining it, because I think I remember someone commenting a long time ago about it, and I've kind of, like investigated around in there. And I find it very interesting. Like if you want to deepen your human design discovery and like research, genetic matrix is a really, really, really good place to go, because what it does is it actually, I don't know if anybody, like if everyone knows this, but when you go to like just a generic human design site and you like put in your information, it gives you just like one overview of your chart, right? And so that's your whatever quantum view or something on genetic matrix. It's like everything together, but there's actually two other views, right? And that's why like on one side there's like a bunch of black, like there's a conscious and unconscious side. One is red and one is black. Can't remember at this moment which is which, but yeah, so on those two sides you actually have two different views of your human design chart. So you have like I don't know, I actually can't remember it, but whatever, I'll find the answer, I'll put it in the other video. But when you look at those two views, because it's basically only looking at like the black gates, or it's only looking at the red gates, right? And so sometimes you have like a half red gate and a half black gate, and then those things come together and they make you, like in my case, a splenic projector. So I have my root center connected to my spleen, and I believe it's a half red gate and a half black gate, right? Because the reason why, when I only look at the red side, like let's start with that. When I only look at like the red gates, that red view, I'm actually a self-projected projector. So that means that I have a red gate in my G center and a red gate in my throat center. It's been a while since I've talked about human design, but it's coming back. And then that creates a channel. And so I have one red channel. I only actually have 3 channels in my entire chart, which is why this is like a very clear, way of like understanding this, right? So remember, one channel is down here, spleen to root center, and it's half red and half black. And it makes me a splenic projector. That's like who I am, like my final authority, right? But when I'm only looking at the red side, I have a gate here. One of my channels is just a red channel. So nothing else in my chart is colored in except for those 2 centers, right? So I'm a self-projected projector when I look at that view. Now, when I look at the black gates, when I look at that 3rd view, I'm a mental projector. So I have one black channel, and it goes from my throat to my ajna, I guess, somewhere here. And it's just one channel. And that's the only thing that's activated in my chart when I look through that view. So I have like 3 ways of processing information, and, making decisions and like doing whatever. So I just think that's so interesting. And like, I really do benefit from talking about things and like sharing my perspective and just like having the words come out of my mouth and like bounce back on me, or just like hearing someone else's viewpoint and then like bringing it back to myself and being like, hey, what does my spleen have to say about that? Like, just like cross-referencing all of these different aspects. And it's been so valuable for me as I've just kind of experimented with that. And so it's like, I just want to bring us all together, and like all of the people who are self-projected projectors, who are mental projectors, or who even have that as like a complete aspect in like one of their views, like one of their chart views, like let's chat, like let's talk about some stuff and let's figure it out, right? And then the same thing goes for, now this is where it gets a bit complicated, because I don't have my solar plexus, what is the word that people use? It's not activated, colored in, defined. That's the word. I don't have it defined. See, it's been a while, okay? It has been a while. And I also don't have my will center, my heart center defined. So I don't have any information when it comes to those authorities, right? But like emotional projectors and heart ego manifested ego projectors, you guys do have information there. So you guys can talk to the other projectors in the community, in the collective, and work out whatever you need to work out with them, right? Like I don't know, I just have this like vision for what I see with this community and with this collective and just like with society as a whole, and I believe really that this is the first step. This is where I want to start. This is what I want to create. I have so many other things that I want to create as well, but I feel like I need this, like as much as like I want to give this to all of the other projectors who are seeing this video right now and who are feeling called to have this same experience in their life. I really just want it for myself as well. Like I think that's like every great business was created based on, I think, something that person wanted, right? Something that they felt that they would enjoy, and then they just like brought it to the collective, brought it to society, brought it into the world. So yeah, that's what I want to do. So I have a Facebook group, and I'm like, I don't want to have pressure to like post anywhere to do anything, I'm just gonna like let things flow. I think I'm also gonna do an email list, but like don't freak out. I'm not going to send you emails, okay? It's literally just like an information portal. That's it. For Zoom calls, like when they're scheduled for like the Zoom links, and then just like genuine, like necessary information. Like, I'm not going to be sending out like newsletters and things like that. Like, ain't nobody got the energy for that, right? So also, like, we're just inundated in emails. Like, nobody needs another email to talk about some random shit. Like, okay, I'm just gonna say it. But I do think it's valuable to stay connected through different sources, through different avenues. So I have a Facebook group that is just like super, streamlined, basic, whatever. And that is really just going to serve, I think, also as updates, maybe, just for like Zoom calls and maybe whatever questions. It's kind of going to be more of like a question forum, because what I've noticed also, last thing, and then we're wrapping up the video, okay? I've also noticed whenever I've been in like any human design Facebook groups or whatever, right? And people like will just ask questions, right? They'll be like, oh, like this is my chart, or da 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 da, or like I have this thing going on, or whatever. And like I'll just like be like scrolling through stuff, and then like I'll stop on one of them and I'll be like, I have something to give here. Like I have information to share. And then I just like that's like splenic authority for you, okay? I literally, it's 2:30 in the morning, okay? I was cooking dinner an hour ago. Yes, it was 1:30 in the morning when I was cooking dinner. And that's a story for another time, okay? Don't worry about it. But and then I just had this thought pop into my mind, and I went, now is the time. Now is the time to share this information. And it so most certainly is, because I've been talking for like, I think it's about an hour right now that I've been making this video. And it just flowed out of me. Is that a word? Flowed? Just flew out of me? I don't know. But it's just flowing, right? I didn't prepare anything. I didn't make any notes. I've been looking over here, but there's nothing over there. I'm just gathering thoughts. That's all I'm doing when I look over there. I'm just gathering my thoughts. So anyways, the point is that when I am making comments and I feel called and it just like buzzes out of me, right? And I'm able to provide so much information that I just would never have been able to provide if I like had to provide it, right? It's very like instantaneous. It's in the moment, and I don't have the ability to control it. It just happens, or it doesn't happen, right? So I would love for that to be a part of this Facebook group. Like, ask any questions you have, post your chart, like whatever. Someone else has something that they can add that they like, even, like, here's the number one thing I want us to always remember. I want you to always point out when you have some similarity to someone else's chart. You're a 1-3, they're a 1-3, put it in the comments. You guys have the same authority, put it in the comments. You're a quad right, put it in the comments. Obviously I said all the things that are pertinent to me, but that's the gist, okay? Because every person's, all of these elements operate differently in our charts, because we've had different life experiences. We've been brought up in different ways, in different homes, with different ideologies, we've had different jobs. Like, there's just so many things that have been different that the same thing is going to look slightly different, but it's like a Venn diagram. There's always an overlap, right? So my goal is to like find that middle ground. Like, where's the overlap from each person's experience that can add value, because it's like, you never thought about it in that way. It's a totally new perspective. Or like, they just like, you just didn't even know that was something that was part of it, like things that I share about my like elements, I'm sharing them from firsthand experience. And that's also the value that I see in this. Like, it's great to learn about the basic structure of human design. I think that's really important. You got to have a strong foundation, right? One line, you understand. The first lines, get it. The strong foundation is key. But it only goes so far. It only serves you for so long. And at some point, you got to do something about it. You got to do something about the information that you have, right? And that's the whole, I'll go into more 1-3 stuff like in another video, because I am going to wrap this up too. But really, that is the point. I want us to discuss first-hand experiences while utilizing the human design system. Like, do your experiment, learn from someone else and their experiment, go and test it out, go and apply it in your life, and then come back to the collective with your findings. Share it with the group, share it with the crew. That's what I want. Okay. So you have to, point out your similarities in order for that to happen. Right. And then the other aspect, so that'll be like the Facebook group primarily. It'll be like asking questions, going about different charts, things like that. And whatever I feel called to do, wherever I feel called to comment, I will. If there's someone's chart that I feel called to, discuss, I'll do that. And if I don't, then I won't. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And also, it's not something that, like, because I have felt offended about this before. Like, certain people have said that in other things that I've interacted with, and I'm like, oh, like, why didn't they feel called to, like, discuss whatever? And it's a timing thing, I think. It's not like it's a no forever. It's not like I'm never going to feel called, perhaps. Like, I'm not going to put any parameters on it, but, like, it may just be like a not yet kind of scenario, like not right now, right? It may happen in the future. It may not. Just, like, don't stress about it, right? People are going to be commenting and sharing their experiences. So, like, wherever I'm meant to go is where I'm going to go, right? And it's probably not going to make very much sense to anybody else but me, right? And it doesn't have to at all. And then the other aspect is the Zoom calls, and it's going to be like a similar scenario. It's going to be that where you're, like, discussing different things, like maybe something happened in the Facebook group, and you want to talk about it, or maybe, like, something will happen where there's someone's chart that, like, I'm really feeling called to discuss, and, like, we've been, like, chatting for a while, and I've kind of gotten to know them, and, like, we might do like a feature chart reading, like, live on the Zoom call, and then I'll record all of the Zooms and put them kind of, like, into, like, a free course, I guess, because, like, when I've been thinking about it, I'm like, I could email them out to everyone, but that's going to be convoluted, and, like, nobody has time to fish through their emails, right? So I'm thinking I'm just going to, like, put it on Teachable or something, and just, have it there as, like, a living course that just continues to grow as our community continues to grow, and as our, like, information base continues to grow. And I'm just going to, like, whenever people join the Facebook group, from, like, this video or from other videos that I'm making, they'll just be able to go to the course. I'll just, like, send them a link. It'll be a free course, and you can just marinate in it, like, put it on while you're, like, getting ready for bed, or, like, getting ready in the morning, or, like, exercising, or, like, going for a walk, like, just, like, throw it on and just, like, listen to it and just absorb whatever you're meant to hear in the course, right? And yeah. And then also on the Zoom calls, I always want to have an aspect dedicated towards, like, the play of what your utopian society would look like, like, just, like, have fun with it, like, just, like, create it, like, think of it like just an elementary school project, and it's just, like, an assignment, and you just have to, like, come to class whenever the classes are, and thinking, like, twice a month might be manageable to start, and then I'll just, like, see how it goes from there. But, bring your thing to class, whether you're someone who prepares it beforehand, or whether you're someone who, like, jots down ideas in the moment based on, like, what you're hearing from other people, because we all have different, like, strategies of the way that we work and the way that, like, creativity flows through us. And just, like, share. And, like, there's no pressure to share. If you don't have an idea and you just want to listen, or you just want to, like, whatever, that's totally cool too. But if you have something to share, like, literally, it doesn't matter what it is. The only requirement is that it makes you happy. That's it. It makes you laugh. It makes you feel good. It makes you giggle. Like, it makes you smile. Like, that's it. That's the only requirement. It doesn't have to make sense. Don't think about it making sense. That's it. Okay? Just have it make you happy. Okay. I think that's enough. Yeah. So I will, I have an Instagram page and it's called the Projector Collective. But I will put the Facebook group link in the description box below. Yeah, and if there's anything in this video that like spoke to you about like different things that I explained, whether human design related or like new earth related or anything related, and you want to put it in the comments, like I am getting back to everybody's comments, okay? I do want to say that I so deeply appreciate everyone who has commented on my videos, and I've like looked through them on certain days and I've just been like, wow, like this is just like so lovely and like so purposeful and just so important. And I have really, really, really enjoyed reading your comments, and I am feeling the energy come back to me, and I will respond to every single one of them. You have my word, 1000%. I don't know when, but I know that it's absolutely happening. And so I will be getting back to you. So if you have anything to share on this video, I would love to hear it, because I also feel like time and timelines are like such a unique concept that will definitely also be discussed in our collective. And so, you know, even though so much time has passed, like, has any time really passed? You know, kind of yes, but also kind of no. And also it feels like, why would you pick fruit before it's ripe? That's always the mentality. Why would you try and do something before it's ready to be done? It's just going to be like an underdeveloped, raw, sour piece of fruit, right? Nobody wants that. People want ripe, beautiful, sweet, juicy, delicious fruit. And that's what I feel like responding to comments is, or even like making videos or like content in general, you know, like time and communication, like messaging as well, is so time oriented. It's not even funny. And also it's like timeline oriented, right? It's like, you know, there's this pressure to like respond to things right away. And that's something that we're leaving behind as part of like a previous societal program. Because what we are instilling now is alignment, discernment, self-care, and, you know, picking the fruit when it's ripe. Just doing it when it feels natural, doing it when it feels aligned, right? When you feel like you have the energy for it, right? But that's also a whole nother subject that we will chat about on the Zoom calls in the community. Yeah, I think I had all of that. If you want to send me like a DM, like let's say you don't want to, what's it called? You don't want to comment anything below, totally cool. If you go and you like, I do want to say though, if you do like go and follow my Instagram account, like the Projector Collective, please send me a DM if you like came through this video. Like, I guess pretty much it's going to be that you came through this video because there's no other place that I'm, you know, doing anything for this. But send me a DM, because when someone adds me, like sometimes random people add me and I don't know where they came from and I don't know what the vibe is, right? And I just kind of like suss it out depending, like I might add them back. I don't know. It's like I have to do all of like this work behind the scenes to like discern who they are and where they came from, right? But if you send me a DM, like if you follow me, if you decide to follow me and you send me a DM and you say like, hey, I saw your YouTube video, blah, 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 like put the title in there, right? Desire motivation, okay? Let's keep this shit organized. Yeah, tell me like which video you came through, because I am going to be making more videos of this, you know? I think this is the time. And yeah, send me a DM, okay? Tell me who you are. I want to also know what projector type you are. I want to know your authority, and I want to know your profile. That's what I want, okay? So send me that DM, and then I'll follow you back, because I'm going to know who you are now, right? And then, yes, please join the Facebook group, and that'll be the same thing. You just have to answer one question, because I need to know. I need to know who you are. I need to know what your authority is, and I need to know what your profile is. Those are the 2 requirements for joining the collective, okay? And I'm going to say that, like, you're a projector, right? Maybe eventually we'll open it up to, like, other people who have, like, a projector view, like my mom in the scenario, and who have, like, different elements to add. But, like, honestly, just right now, I don't. I just want it to be a Projector community. That's it. Projector Collective. That's all. So I think that's everything. So yeah, join the Facebook group. And then I don't know from there. I'm just going to see what happens basically. And then I'll just like make decisions as a result of that based on like when the calls are going to be, how often they will be. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. That's the end of all of the information that I have to share. And I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching my video, watching the information that I have to share, and connecting with it, because quite honestly, you wouldn't be here still if you weren't, okay? So I really value that, and I really appreciate it. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, cool. And I guess give me a like, give me a thumbs up. That would be fun too. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you in the next video.